Welcome to Kingdom Finances. It's a privilege for me today to have with me Martin Mester. And Martin, you are a long time in business. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us, where do you come from business-wise?
Wow. Well, I started my own traditional business, and I say traditional business in the sense that it's what most people understand today. Back in 1989, I started off in the construction industry. And from there, I progressed into the property industry because I think it's a natural progression, going from construction into property. And there, I learned how to build properties. Of course, I was in the commercial structure, so I built commercial properties first. That's where I started. And thereafter, then moving over into residential. And through that transition of building and starting to let out properties, I started learning how to actually take those properties and put them into structures that are safe. So we look at using things like PDY Limiteds and of course trusts. We look at offshore trust structures as well. And basically we can teach people how to structure their portfolios properly so that they not only can create wealth, but of course look at the long term by keeping their wealth.
Sure. And then you shifted gears into more of the crypto realm. That's, for many of us, that's foreign country. But you also involved in that? Yeah,
absolutely. Once more, when I've been investing for, I think it was about 10, 15 years, new opportunities always came to the fore. And I remember the way I actually got into the crypto side was I went to a property seminar back in 2015. And I remember so well that at the property seminar, which was a 2-day seminar, they were talking about how to invest in these certain types of properties. And on the second day, where I was expecting them to explain things about what kind of tenants and the contracts and all this kind of stuff, they started speaking about things like gold and how to buy gold. And I remember sitting there a little bit annoyed of why they'd be talking about investing in gold at a property seminar. Well, we went to lunch, we came back and matters got worse, because they then started speaking about things like cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Now, for those
that immediately spoke to you or not?
No, not at all. I mean, I had no idea what they were talking about. You know, you must remember, you can see by my age that, I was not born with a cell phone and a computer in my hand. I certainly wasn't computer literate. So when they started talking about this kind of money that existed in your computer, it made absolutely no sense to me.
I can tell you there's a lot of people, it still makes no sense.
Well, it takes a little bit of understanding. And I think what basically turned me to start investigating, because that's really what it took. It took me a long time to investigate this cryptocurrency Bitcoin thing, is when the presenter said something towards the end of the presentation, which kind of got my attention. And he said, we make approximately a 20% return on investment per month. Per month.
Sure.
And that was exactly my reaction. I'm like, that's impossible. So I actually stood up in this massive seminar and I corrected him and I said, you mean 20% per annum? And he looked at me and he said, no, 20% per month. Now, in those days, we were mining cryptocurrency. And that's, it's not as profitable as it is today. It's not as profitable as it was back then today. But it got my attention. And I then went up to him and I said to him, after the seminar, I said to him, so how did this actually now work that you can generate 20% a month? And he then gave me the story and he then shared with me what they were actually doing at the time. And what they were doing at the time is they were actually mining these Bitcoins offshore. They were converting those Bitcoins into gold. They were then using the gold as collateral to raise finance, and they were then purchasing property with that finance.
Whoa, that's beautiful.
And that's how the whole thing tied together. And to me, that was absolutely fascinating. I mean, I'd been in the property industry then for 21 years at that stage, because this was in 2015. And I had never heard of buying offshore properties with Bitcoin. And that's pretty much what it boiled down to. So this got my interest. I started investigating. I flew overseas. I've been over to the States twice. I've been over to investigate these mines. And I went over to Langkawi to meet the people, the owners of the business, to get an understanding of what this industry was all about. And when I was convinced that this is actually a legitimate industry, the question was, okay, how do I understand it? Based on my background of not understanding computers, not understanding the complete functionality thereof, really old school, I started learning. And pretty much I learned from YouTube videos, because at that stage there was nobody else really active in the industry that could actually teach you this stuff.
But today, you're not actually busy with the mining aspect as you were at that stage.
No.
So you are the chief governor of Honor Empire, and Honor Empire is a what company?
Well, Honor Empire is a God-birthed company which helps the priestly and the kingly come together.
Okay.
So we look at both aspects of business and how to then create a God-birthed business. So we'll teach you some of the skills. Some of our members will teach you some of the skills on the priestly side, and some of the members will teach you more on the business side or on the kingly side. And at the end of the day, it's a winning formula. You cannot build a business without God in your business.
I think this is so biblical. From the Old Testament just through to the New Testament, it's the ministry side coupled with the business side. So it's so biblical. So if somebody is listening today and you can tell us what can they benefit from if they join Honor Empire, or if they are interested in some of the things, what are we doing that can either bring an extra income or can help people understand the things that you are talking about?
Okay, so the first thing that I think one must do is you need to register to become a member of Honor Empire. Once you're a member of Honor Empire, you now have literally two options. You can either become an investor, and you can show you how to invest money into various platforms to get a generous return. Or you can say, look, I need to learn a few skills and I'd like to start off in business and generate my own income. Depending on which option you choose, we can then share with you what we think would be the relevant path for you to follow. If it's going to be education, then of course we're going to teach you from the Crypto School, which is one of the programs we have. And the Crypto School is completely free of charge. It's an introduction to the crypto industry, how to set up a wallet, how to put on security onto your computer and your cell phone, and just the basic of basics that one needs to understand.
But just tell us, what is crypto?
Okay, so crypto is a digital format of money. Most people would understand it by getting some form of loyalty points from a bank. When you swipe your card, you get these loyalty points, and these points accumulate, they have value, but you can't actually touch it. It's not tangible. But you can spend it and there is value, and they give it to you on a card. Now, cryptocurrency is something similar to those digital points, except that it's not owned by a bank. It's in fact owned by a community. And although you can't physically touch it, there is value to it, and you can put it on a card and you can spend it.
So we deposit into our wallets, we withdraw into our wallets, and it's a little bit more than the banks would give you today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if you understand the kind of returns that one can get, depending on your background, your environment, where you're going to invest and how much money you got, etc., etc. But there are methods. For argument's sake, you have money in a wallet, but you need an exchange that you can convert your cryptos into, South African rands in this case. All completely legal. If anybody's wondering if this is a legal activity, it's all completely legal. There's a lot of regulation that's going to be starting to come out pretty soon. We've got the regulators now looking at cryptocurrencies, which is fine. It's not a problem. We're trying to get bad people out of crypto.
That's for sure.
But there are lots of opportunities, especially now with this coronavirus, where people are being forced to work from home. You can learn the skill, work from home, generate money from your laptop, but you need to learn the skill. That is very important.
And anybody can learn the skill?
Anybody can learn the skill.
So if I start doing that, and I work on my skills, and I've got you as a mentor, will I be able to one day in the future have an income, say, equal to what I'm earning at my job now?
Well, I can't speak for other people, but I can certainly speak for myself. And what I can say is that 3 years ago, I sold my traditional business, and I'm now full-time into investments. And I can honestly tell you I make more money now in my crypto business than I ever did in my traditional business. I do a lot less work, but I do enjoy it a lot more, I must be quite honest. But I also can share the opportunity with many people, and I think that is also what drives me.
And you sit at home. You do it from home.
You can do it from home.
No traffic.
As a matter of fact, you can do it anywhere if there's an internet connection and a laptop connection. That's all you really need. So, the quicker you can get yourself Wi-Fi at home, which is relatively cheap, Get a decent laptop that has most functionalities. When I started off, my laptop was 5 years old. I used to use it for sending emails, and that was about it. But even that did work to a certain point. But with technology increasing all the time, and updating the wallets and all this kind of stuff, there are now new things that you need. So the best thing is get yourself a decent computer. If you're going to go into this industry and make some decent money, you need decent equipment. So
that's true.
Get yourself something decent.
Martin, and in the past few weeks, we saw a steep incline or decline in one of the biggest Bitcoin currencies.
Yes, that's right.
So, do you lose all your money when that happens, or how do you trade when it's going down? And we want the bullish market, but when there's bearish, what do you do?
Well, I think the first thing you need to understand is you need to start thinking like an investor. And when the prices are down, it means that Bitcoin's on sale, which means, if there was a dress or a handbag on sale, guess what you do? You're in there and you buy, right? And this is no different. When you have a sale, which in this case Bitcoin went down in value, just remember this. If you had to say the word Bitcoin and just say, forget Bitcoin, use gold. If the gold price was, you got a lump of gold and the gold price goes to $1,000 and overnight it drops down to say $500, how much gold have you still got? Well, you still got the lump of gold, right?
Yes.
And over time that lump of gold's price is going to go up. Well, Bitcoin's exactly the same. You can look at Bitcoin as an asset. You can look at gold as an asset. The value is going to fluctuate up and down. The question is at what price did you buy it and at what price are you going to sell it? Now, with the advances of cryptocurrencies, if you get Bitcoin, you do not sell your Bitcoin to profit. There is something called DeFi. Now, DeFi stands for decentralized finance.
I thought it was a fridge.
No. I think it's a fridge too. But the decentralized finance works that you can take your cryptocurrency as collateral. You can stake it as collateral and borrow money against it at very low interest rates. And because it's a loan, it is therefore non-taxable. And you can then go and take this money and spend it as you wish or put it into another type of investment. You can do exactly what you like to do with it. And as the price of these cryptocurrencies start to increase in value, obviously by the value increasing in the crypto, that loan that you've taken against it will actually pay itself off.
That's wonderful. And you spoke something about altcoins and that it's a profitable thing for the time that we are living in. Can you tell us a little bit more?
All right. So what is an altcoin? An altcoin is every coin that's out there excepting for Bitcoin. So you have Bitcoin and you have things like Ethereum, Litecoin, Theta, Thetafiel, ZIL. All these are alternative coins. In other words, everything outside of Bitcoin. Most of the what we call high cap coins, in other words, they've got a very big market cap, have sustainable projects behind them. And if one is looking as an investor, then obviously you want to choose a coin that has a good sustainable project behind it, because as the project grows, so the value of that coin will grow as well.
Okay.
Most people look at Bitcoin as digital gold. So they'll buy Bitcoin for long term to hold it, and the value, of course, will increase over time, which is fantastic. But they'll look at some of the smaller cap coins as speculation. So these are the coins that you'd like to trade with.
Okay.
And because they are very volatile, the prices go up and down quite quickly. Then, you've got the whole idea, of course, with trading is that you buy it low and sell high. Most people get it wrong. They buy high and sell low because they go into panic mode.
Yeah, you're not a cowboy when you trade.
No.
It's a science.
It's a science, it definitely is.
So, bottom line is, if somebody wants to be trained in trading, they can come to you. And if they want to invest in crypto or altcoins, whatever you want to call it, they can also come to you and you have an opportunity for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we established a company called Extreme Trading, of which the Crypto School is part of. The Crypto School is completely free of charge. It's an introduction course. We send it to you via email. You then can set up all the things on your computer just by watching all the YouTube videos. They're very specific. Some of them are our own videos. And you can set up your whole infrastructure just basically using that video. Then we have levels 1, 2, and 3, where we have a basic introduction to cryptocurrency. How does it work? How do you take this cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, and how do you calculate a rand value from it, for argument's sake. All little bits and pieces that are really essential to understand how this project actually works. So that was pretty much level 1. Level 2, we start looking at things like what's a candlestick, what are chart patterns, how do these chart patterns work, how do you forecast looking at these chart patterns based on price action. Is the price going up? Is it coming down? What are these lines on the chart actually mean? Are they resistance lines? Are they lines of support? Are they Bollinger Bands? What are they? So we teach you all that kind of thing. So when you look at a chart, it speaks to you. So you understand that if you are going to be investing, and we're not gambling here, we are investing, that you have an idea of what's actually going on. So let's put it this way, it's an educated guess, okay?
That's good.
And then, of course, we have level 3 where we get a little bit more advanced into trading. And then, of course, we have things like DeFi, where you can actually borrow money and then take that borrowed money and invest it. And, of course, then you can leverage your investment. So we have all these kinds of things that one can do. And then we also have certain platforms that we can invest in. And then, of course, we also have things like gold and silver, which one can purchase.
If you talk about gold and silver, there's another company that you are involved in, Amara Capital.
Correct.
And that speaks about 4 platforms, gold and silver and crypto and savings.
Savings, correct, yeah.
So how can I benefit from buying gold? Why must I buy gold or silver? What's the use of that?
Okay, so that was the second part of On Empire's platform, where we said you can either go and invest. Now, Amara Capital is the investment platform that we have. And of course, you can invest in things like silver and gold. Now, let's start there. Why would you want to invest in silver and gold? And I think the answer to that is for the long-term hedge. We know that any fiat currency being the rand in this case, depreciates over time. And I think if anybody wants to argue the point, is the rand worth the same as it was perhaps 20 years ago? Just think of it that when you went with 100 rands, 20 years ago, you went to Pick and Pay the $100. What did you get? Well, you probably got a trolley full of goods. Okay, today you might get one packet if you're lucky with the same 100 rand. So you realize that the buying power of the fiat currency decreases over time. We call that inflation. Now, with gold and silver, it maintains its value over time. And right now, specifically, we're looking at silver because we know with the advent of all this latest technology, like these Tesla cars, they use these batteries and they use a lot of the silver in the production of these cars. Computers, cell phones all use silver, and there's a massive shortage of silver in the world. So we're looking at those markets starting to increase steadily over a period of time.
So if I bought some silver today, and I just keep it till the end of the year, the value would most probably increase?
Yeah. Look, silver is probably a long-term investment like gold is, so it's certainly not something that you want to just invest for 1 year. We're probably looking at maybe 5 to 10 years, so we call that generational wealth.
Okay. Or God's money.
Or God's money.
Yes.
Correct. It's God's money. And then, of course, you're looking at the crypto side. Now, the crypto side gives you a slightly higher return. So in other words, you make a little bit more money, but of course it's a little bit more risk. So it depends on your appetite for risk. What are you trying to do? Which is, the crypto fund we have is for the longer term, so it's for 12 months plus. And then we have the savings pocket, which is typically something that you'd look at for the now. So you might look for a month or 2 months, or you can start off with as little as 50 rand. You can invest that, and then over a period of time, you can get some money back.
But that's very good news, because the moment you start talking about investing, a lot of us just switch off, because in these times, people are suffering just to get food on the table. So where's the money to invest? But if you say I can start at $50 a month, that sounds, but can I make money if I just put a small amount per month away for a period of time?
Well, I think, I'll give you the extreme example. We had people walking into our offices a few months back, and they gave us 500 rand and said, I want you to invest this for me, and I'm going to come back in 6 months' time, and I want to be able to buy a Ferrari. And this is real.
Really,
because you see, people see the stuff on Facebook and all kinds of social media, and they get sucked into the hype, and they believe that there are companies out there that'll actually take your $50 and make you 10 million with it. But I can tell you now, if you invest your 50 Rand with that company, you won't see it again. Okay, they very scrupulous companies out there. It's an unregulated market as far as cryptos are concerned, so people do what they like. We just say, be clever when you invest your money. You would never give your money to a stranger to invest. Why would you then go deposit it in somebody's account on Facebook that you haven't met from a bar of soap? So I think the bottom line is here is that you've got to have a real expectation. Our job in the investing platform is to beat the banks. That's what we're trying to achieve. So you might not get, with 50 Rand a month for the next 12 months, you certainly won't be financially free, but it would be more money than had you put that $50 in the bank, you would be better off. So,
except for let the money work for you instead of you working for the money, is there also compounded interest that comes into play or not?
Yeah, it's not really compounded interest specifically, because in the crypto market we don't talk about interest, we talk more about rewards. Okay. So, if you're looking at the banking structure, yes, there you'll get maybe 10% or 10%, 5% per annum if you're lucky, and that is interest. In the crypto side, we don't do that. It's something a little bit different. And if you're wanting to learn how to do that, of course, we can teach that to you. If you're not too sure and you haven't got the time for it, but you just want to save, then you give your money to us. We'll put it into a fund. And of course, if you want to withdraw the money, you can do so.
And I can just tell you everything is legal, the legal contract, the FSCA. We've looked at everything and your money will be safe. It's not like some of the other things you've experienced lately. Won't you just bless the people out there with a word of encouragement for the business people or those at home eating a next meal or whatever? Absolutely.
So for everybody out there, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless your business. May the Lord bless your family. And I hope for you to have prosperity and to learn. Perhaps this video will encourage you to learn, and you're more than welcome to contact us so that we can bless you for the future by showing you and teaching you and equipping you on how to expand, even if it's just to have an alternative or additional income from what you're earning right now.